Hi, this is Ben Rogerson for MusicRadar.com, and I'm here at the launch of Eigenlab's Eigenharp, which is a pretty revolutionary new instrument. I'm here with Mark, who's going to tell us all about it. So, Mark, the Eigenharp.
Yeah.
How does it work?
Basically, the Eigenharp is you use it with a laptop to create sounds which are on the laptop. And the interesting thing is the keys, really, which are quite exciting. They move in 3 axes, so they're sensitive to pressure. So the harder you hold it down, the louder it gets. You have pitch, up and down, so you can vibrato individual notes like on a stringed instrument. There's a filter to bend it the other way. That's set up to a filter, and all of this you can set up however you want for each individual instrument.
So you say it runs in software, so you've got 3 elements here. Then you've basically got the instrument itself, there's a controller box on the floor, I see, and the software. So all the sounds are actually generated in software, is that right?
That's right, yeah, all the sounds are stored on the laptop. Which means that you don't get the instrument with all these sounds that become dated, in 10 or 20 years. You can update all your sounds as you find new sounds, or use sounds that you've already got that you use with keyboards or in music programming software.
So what about compatibility with existing standards? Can you use plugins? Is that workable?
Yeah, you can. You can use audio units. We use them all the time, which is great. So you just load those in really easily, and you can. They're compatible with all the features of the Eigenharp as well.
I believe there's some kind of step sequence of functionality on here as well. Can you show us that?
That's right, yes, called the Arranger. And you can map these keys to any instrument you like. At the moment I've got them set up to drums. You can change the start and end point here, just by pressing that, make it go backwards if you want. So you basically just hold down the key and it will make a sound. So I've got hi-hats here. So I just quickly build up a percussive loop. And then to turn them off, you just press them again, or you can turn the whole thing off with this key here. So that's a really great way to perform. If you instead of just hitting a button or playing a backing track, people can see you build an entire loop or melody, a key at a time.
The breath pipe as well, I noticed that. Is that to play woodwind instruments and brass instruments, or are there other uses for that as well?
Both, yeah. You can play that. We've actually got a physical model of a clarinet, which I can just quickly show you. So obviously you blow into the breath pipe to produce the sound, or it can be used to control filters. So here I've got like a wah-wah kind of effect using the breath pipe.
What about these buttons down the bottom? How do they differ from the ones up at the top?
Well, they're exactly the same in terms of sensitivity, and they still just as sensitive with pressure. But they're made to be hit a lot harder, so they're ideal for playing drum patterns. But you can map any sound you like to that. So we were thinking at some point we're going to probably have a guitar sound, acoustic guitar sound, hold down the keys and it doesn't produce a sound until you strum the percussion key. So there's lots of interesting things you can do with that.
And I noticed there's a mic input down the bottom as well. What's that there for?
Oh, the mic input, yeah, it's actually at the top here. So you can attach a microphone, so you can sing and loop different vocals back and use it as a vocoder. So that's quite interesting. You've also got a headphone output on the back as well, so you can listen to what you're playing through your phones on that.
Great. I noticed you've got 2 strip controllers down either side of the instrument. What are they used for?
They can be configured to do anything you like with sound. So for example, here I've got this strip controller connected to pitch. So if I hold down a note, so that's how that works. The other one is set up to give me feedback like you would get on a guitar with an amplifier. And then as I move back, it will slowly decrease. So you could fade it out and then fade it back in again if you wanted to.
Am I right in thinking as well that software supports Apple loops and that you can trigger those from the buttons as well?
That's right, yeah, you can trigger drum loops. I've got a couple on here I can quickly show you. So you can just easily switch between drum loops, speed them up, slow them down. You've got a tap tempo function as well, so you can easily play with other musicians.
Great. Okay, as well as the main Eigenharp, which is called the Alpha, we've also got this little fella here, which is the Pico, which is the more affordable model, which is going to be 349, I think. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
So can you just show us a little bit of playing on this one?
Yeah, okay. Has all the same features, just slightly less keys than the Alpha. I'll just show you a clarinet quickly. So that's a physical model of the clarinet. Also comes with one strip controller down here. That again can be set up to do anything you want with it. And comes with the USB cable, so you plug it straight into your laptop, and it's ready to go.
And the software, is it essentially the same as the software that comes with the Alpha? Yeah?
Exactly the same software, same setup and everything, yeah.
That's how the Eigenharp works then, but what about the inspiration for the instrument? We spoke to Eigenlab's founder, John Lambert.
It really comes from an experience of mine in the early 90s when I played in a trance ambient band, sort of gigging around London. We'd play sort of Bagley's, The Big Chill, all these sort of warehouse kind of gigs. And it was just a nightmare to set up. I mean, we had a lot of fun. We had lots of analog synths on stage, real guitars, Atari 1040s, those ancient computers, running C-Lab. And as I say, the music was great fun, but by comparison to the experience of going down the folk club and playing my acoustic guitar, the setup and the experience of going to the gig was just horrible. And so I thought of this as a way to solve some of those problems, to make playing electronic music visually more entertaining on stage, so that the musician wouldn't look like they were twiddling knobs and playing with computers. They'd look like a guitarist does, kind of sexy and fun on stage. And also the setup time would just be reduced to 5 minutes, just like the acoustic guitar.
You mentioned trance there. So is this an instrument primarily designed for electronica people, or has it got a much broader appeal than that, do you think?
I think it's got a much broader appeal. If you like, the driver for its early design was from that, but we've had huge interest in it right across the spectrum, from the classical players and film composers all the way through to goth rock bands. And I'm serious about that as well. We've got a guitar player from a goth rock band who really wants one to kind of replace their main instrument because they think it can take them whole new places.
Do you think it's an advantage to have some kind of musical training before you pick up an Eigenharp, or can it be, played by anyone really?
Well, it's certainly pretty easy to pick up, but we've designed it to be rather like the piano or the guitar, and you can learn 3 chords on it and get going really fast. It helps to be a musician, of course, to start with, in the same way that if you wanted to go and learn the cello, being a good pianist helps because you know the theory and you know the harmony and your fingers move nicely and all that kind of thing. But really, you don't need to know any of that, and there are some really cool things in the system that make some really tough things that are normal in music, like learning all your scales. And I mean, I don't know how to play the whole tone scale, for example, on the guitar, but I just press one button on the Eigenharp and I've got it right under my fingers, and that's fun. I've been having I've been playing flamenco scales and Hungarian gypsy scales. We have 82 scales in the system, so some of the things that are really hard about learning musical instruments get a lot easier. So I don't think it's hard. No, I think it's a kind of fun instrument for a beginner.
Turning into the future, I mean, where would you see the Eigenharp in the next 2 or 3 years? Do you think you plan to develop more models, or just concentrate on evolving the one you've already got?
No, we have a whole load of stuff in development that I can't really talk about, but yes, there will be more models. There's some really new, interesting things coming out in the very near future. We have a CV gate interface coming out in December, which enables people to natively hook up their old-fashioned analog synths, their Moogs and all that sort of stuff, to the Bel Canto software system. In the new year, in February, we're launching the Workbench, which is a more advanced piece of software that allows you to do really advanced stuff with the connectivity inside the system. Define your own scales, for example, in floating point numbers, so you can do microtonal tunings. It's going to be an experimentalist paradise, the Workbench. And the Workbench, interestingly enough, we already have. It's in use internally. Our beta test team use it, and our in-house team of musicians use it. The only reason we're not releasing it with the instrument to start with is that we think the training materials aren't adequate. And because it's so powerful, it's quite easy to get yourself lost, confused and angry using it. So we're waiting until February, when we've got our video tutorials and all our training materials really sorted out before we launch it. But that's an exciting development then, and there will be other instrument models coming online as well through next year.
Great, thank you very much.